I'm just taking this opportunity to go through 2.2 Canadian Landscapes, Assignment 6. So throughout this assignment, there's just a sort of a brief overview of Canadian history and some Canadian landscapes and how landscapes over time have changed. So there's just various visual examples that you can sort of look through, read through, all right? Once you've done that, you're going to then move on to your assignment, which is stage 1, exploring foreground, middle ground, and background. These are key components when you're trying to create a landscape. You're basically playing with the element of space throughout, right? You're playing with overlapping, sizing, placement, all this other stuff to create sort of a very realistic appearance of a landscape. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to watch the video. You are then going to go to Canva and you're going to create a digital landscape using foreground, middle ground, and background. Again, I want you to be practicing with sizing, overlapping, and layering of images. And below here, this is my example that I created in Canva. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. This is not something I painted and then brought into Canva. These are just things that are already existing in Canva. These are all just like layered pieces that I put together to create this landscape. Okay, so that's basically what I'm going to be showing you here in Canva. All right, so here's just an example. So if you go to Elements, or actually, you know what, let's go back a step so I can be very clear in terms of what you can do. So let's just go to Home first. You can click Presentation, all right? And just here alone, you can create your landscape composition, all right? The first thing that you want to do is you're going to go to Elements, and you can simply type in watercolor sky. And you have a whole bunch of options here. So let's just say I liked this one. I'm going to then just stretch it so it fits the whole area, all right? This is going to be my sky. I like that visual effect, all right? Then you need to start planning, okay, what am I gonna have in my background, middle ground, and foreground, okay? So if you guys look at a lot of landscapes, especially Canadian ones, you'll see a lot of mountains, then you'll see some trees, like a forest below, and then at the foreground, at the front, you might see an animal, you might see a closer view of some greenery like bushes, flowers, that sort of thing, okay? So let me just show you guys this example, over here. All right, now what I did is I just added more pages to that presentation. And then I just simply searched for a whole bunch of different possibilities. So I did watercolor, trees, okay, and a whole bunch of stuff came up. Watercolor, animals, you can do if you want to add an animal or something. Okay, there we go. Watercolor, let's do bushes. All right, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, okay, that you guys can use, and these are just like little puzzle pieces, okay, that you can just add to your landscape. And essentially, this is what this image is a whole bunch of pieces, all right? So for example, I have my sky in the back. I simply typed in watercolor mountains, all right, and if you guys recognize, this is that right here. Okay, so I just plopped that. That's in my background, all right? This middle section, which is my middle ground, okay? So this is where I'm going to be playing with layering, overlapping, sizing, right? So things in the middle ground, all right, should not be super big. They should be mid-size in comparison to everything else, all right? And then my foreground, I have some greenery for grass here, and then I have these bushes of white pretty flowers that are right up at the front, okay, and appear larger than other things that are in the middle ground and background, okay? So again, these are all like little pieces that I've just added here to play with, all right? And basically once you are done your landscape, once you're happy with how everything is sort of sitting on this composition, you're simply going to save it or download it and send it to me on D2L with your then Canadian landscape painting or composition that you have made. Okay, and that is stage 2, the creative process. So you're going to simply choose a location in Canada that is meaningful or of interest to you. Okay, so I know a lot of students in the past have done beautiful landscapes of, say, like Banff, where the water's like this beautiful sort of turquoise color. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can. There's other types of landscapes, especially like forestry. So say you're a camper, you like camping, maybe there's an image you took in childhood that you really, really like of a landscape. Okay, maybe you like beach landscapes. That's totally fine too. Maybe it's maybe a lake you've been to, or the cottage or something like that. There's a photo that you would like to sort of recreate for this composition or this particular art project. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to start to do is, again, create 3 thumbnail composition ideas. This is just done in pencil. It's meant to be done fairly quickly. You're just simply trying to plan out, what am I going to have in the background, middle ground, and foreground. You're going to then consider your color palette. So what colors are you going to use? Reference the image that you're basing your drawing off of. What do you want the focal point to be? So is there going to be an animal maybe somewhere that you want to be your focal point? Is there going to be maybe some greenery that you want to be the focal point or something like that? Just think about what that is. And it doesn't have to be drastic, but my eye should be drawn to just something. It should land on something when I look at your composition, okay? You're going to create your final landscape using, ideally, if you can, acrylic paint. If you don't have that, again, you can use a digital program, or you can use pencil, crayon, or marker, anything with color. Also, guys, if you have watercolor and you don't have acrylic, feel free to use watercolor if you have it, okay? All right, then you're going to apply at least 3 painting techniques. So guys, these are just kind of basic. So things like blending, we always try to blend colors, right, to make it look realistic. Dry brushing is a good technique if you want to create texture. So for those of you who are painting or have paints at home, you're simply trying to dry off a lot of the water or pigment that's on your brush. You're going to wipe it off a bit, and then you'll just use that dry brush with that little bit of pigment right at the tips, and you can create texture. So that's usually good for, say, like a tree trunk, or creating like wispy sort of grass or grasses in, say, your landscape. Okay. Then there's a little artist statement here. What location did you depict and why? What influenced your stylistic choices? Which Canadian artists inspired your work and how? And what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them? Okay. This is the rubric that I'm going to use to evaluate your artwork. And that is it. All right, so again, if you guys have any questions about this assignment or the use of Canva should not be too difficult. But if there's any issues, just let me know and I'll be happy to help you.